Okay, let me see. Let me change my name. Da-da-da. Hey, James.
Good afternoon, Stephanie. How are you?
I am great.
Fantastic.
Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm doing well too, thank you. All things considered.
What do you mean, all things considered? It's another brand new freaking day.
Well, that's the whole point. Any day above ground is a good day.
Yep, any day above ground is a good day.
Yes.
Okay, got us live streaming on Facebook. Awesome sauce. Great. There
So
we got our Nelson joining the audio. There we go. Got us live streaming on Le Facebook.
Hi. All right. Anna Sabino. Anna Sabino. She is the podcast queen.
Oh, I know. I can't wait for this one. This is going to be fun.
She has mentored me on everything that is podcasting, from pitching, from working
Don't
in
give it all away yet. We're already on Facebook. Don't give it away yet. Hey, let's
I'm excited. I love working with her.
Let the intrigue,
Yeah.
let me what's it called?
She's great.
Bubble a little bit. Yeah, she's great.
She's a source of information. Wonderful.
Okay.
And then Jacob is running late.
I mean,
What else is new?
well, but
Let's be honest. Let's say it.
you're gonna think I'm a total nerd or a total dork or whatever. But one of my favorite movies growing up, and to this day I will watch it and watch it and watch it, is The Princess Diaries. And Julie Andrews has a line that says, "A queen is never late. Everyone else is simply early."
Oh, damn.
And I think it's very fitting for the hostess with the mostest, right?
Yeah.
Called making an entrance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Always big scenes.
Yes. Hey, Carlos. Hey, Pam.
Let's see.
Okay.
How's everybody doing? How was your weekend?
was good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share more.
I had the much deserved and needed sleep. So
You.
I got maybe a quarter of the work I needed to get done over the weekend because I was like, my body was just like, nah, you need to sleep. And as most of the team knows, I need sleep.
Yep. Yep.
You.
The weekend went like a flash. It's just like I blinked and it was gone.
Yeah. I love how we're like streaming our like funny conversation right now. I'm fat chipper.
You can turn it off.
And then I have to redo the process and possibly it not working again.
Oh.
So I might as well just like let it go, let it roll with the punches.
Let me message her.
I mean, that's fine, you know. Got quite a bit of work to do.
Okay. Is she on?
No, because I haven't gotten the notification to let anyone in. No one's in the waiting room. If you need me to send you the...
No, we got the link.
Well, I put it in the chat just in case.
Okay. Let me see.
But I'm excited about this one because this is like, this is the next step, right? So
Next step, exactly.
I am so interested in this one. This is going to be like a great like educational tool for me. I'm so excited.
Is that today?
Yeah. Like our podcast Powerhouse is coming in the chatter today.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. And we welcome the Powerhouse as we speak. Ready? There she is.
Oh, there she is. Hi.
It's your party. Take it away now, Nelson.
I'm waiting for Anna to turn on. We can't hear you. Hey, Anna.
Hey there, guys.
Hi, welcome to the party. I'm so excited to have you, Anna.
So excited. Awesome.
Now it's kind of hard to keep track of you. Where are you? Are you in Honolulu or are you in New York right now?
Yeah, I am. Yes.
Okay. Because I follow your Instagram going, now what state are you in now? What time zone are you in?
It's coffee time here. So
All right.
9 a.m. How are you guys? Good to see you.
Well, welcome to the party. We are on Party Chatters, leading the call. So who we are, Anna, is per my email, we are Investor Party with a nonprofit arm called the Sherlock Holmes Foundation. We are a mastermind of entrepreneurs and investors with a social mission. We use investments in the stock market and homes and residential, all of this stuff. And when we acquire properties, we give back to the community. And we help change the conversation about homelessness throughout the country. And we have investors in Hawaii also. So you might see me. So, okay, we're aiming to go over there. And as such, I'm so excited to have you. You've been introduced, guys. If you don't know who Anna Sabino is, she is a rock star in the podcasting world. She is my mentor. I want to thank you, Anna, for helping me grow my business and my whole journey in the podcasting world, because it's a huge marketing opportunity. It really helped develop my own brand, and so. Now that you are entering the party and talking to a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, I wanted to give the floor to you and kind of share with us, who you are, what you do, how you help businesses.
Thank you so much, Nelson, and thank you for these kind words. These were awesome. It's good to start on a good note. That's great. Well, you were a rock star. You've been a rock star student and mentee. That's incredible to see your progress. Yeah, so the opportunity that guest podcasting presents is just incredible. I couldn't believe until I saw it for myself.
Mhm.
When my book was published, I was a guest on 30 podcasts, and that's how I launched it. And compared to social media and all the other efforts that we do as far as marketing, like this is something that converts and also leaves a permanent mark online, which is important to pay attention to because we just spend so much time on Instagram and it's also tempting, but it's all the thing of the moment. Meanwhile, when we are a guest on podcasts, like this stays with us. So we're building this body of work for ourselves. So Nelson, how many interviews have you built as far as that
I
body
think
of work?
up to about 50, and I was just finished one on last Friday. And to piggyback on your point, the craft of being on podcast interviews, it's a lifelong lesson. You just you refine it. One of the things that was attracted me to working with you is that when it came to social media and podcasting, you were the one who taught me, once you do one interview and you get that live, you repurpose it. And now you have a whole social media calendar just for that one interview, and you can repost it at a later time. It develops your credibility. You can take snippets of it. The shelf life of a podcast interview, it's pretty much for years and stuff, and you can always take it. And so for more bang of your buck in terms of marketing dollars, a podcast interview goes a long, long way.
Yeah, it's true. I'm sure you're getting, some ripple effect from even those first interviews, right?
Yeah, I am. People are still reaching out to me. It was odd, but it's great. I mean, I sometimes I totally forgot I did that interview.
Yeah, it's amazing because it also adds to our resume. Like, all these logos that you can put on a site, like if you have press appearances, now you can put the logos of the webs of the podcasts you were a guest on. So it adds to the resume now, like it's a different dimension that it can add. And it's still an undiscovered area, although it's getting there. It's getting towards saturation, but right now there's still time to take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. So it is still free, although some podcasts did start charging to be a guest. But with over 1 million podcasts out there, which is mind-blowing that there are so many, there are definitely still opportunities to take advantage. So. So I would like to let you guys know how to take advantage of it in like a really efficient and effective way so that it grows your business and it grows your brand. Is that
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're businesses. Predominantly our businesses are in real estate, but you will see some of us have nonprofits. Some of us have even side businesses in the arts or, whatever. You're in a world of entrepreneurs.
Awesome.
But as to your point, we may or may not have podcast interviews. So why should and how do we add that to our own marketing mix?
Okay, this is a great question. So I do stress that it's very important to actually know your why, because a lot of people have different whys. So out of the years that I've been teaching it, I know there's 3 types of whys of why people want to be on podcasts. And one is they want to get the courage to put themselves out there. These are the people who haven't done even like one interview, and they still feel that barrier of getting interviews and putting themselves out there. There's this fear, right? And the second reason is they want to process something. So they want to process their transition. They want to process their life event. They want to just talk about it, and it's the way of processing. And the third reason is to build a business. So depending on the goal, and that goal can change. First, it can be because you want to put yourself out there. Once you just get going and see how much fun it is, then you can do that, right? But depending on that, I would strongly recommend to keep that goal in mind. Keep that goal in mind before pitching. So, so let's assume, all of us here, we want to build our businesses just for the sake of this conversation. So if we want to build our businesses, we should definitely pay attention to what podcasts we are a guest on, because And at the beginning, like, again, if you want to just put yourself out there, just connect and be, sky's the limit, just be on any podcast. But if you really, really want to grow your business and get, leads and clients, then I would strongly recommend to pay attention what type of podcast you are a guest on, because the type of podcasts you are a guest on will basically determine what type of audience you will be building your business with, what type of people you will be attracting. Okay, so that initially, that list that you're going to be just compiling, this is a very, very important step. It's an important step, not to show up in podcasts that's not your clients.
Mm-hmm. So I think with a business owner, since many of us are entrepreneurs, to your point, there's so many different podcasts out there. Some of them are going to be more lifestyle. Some of them are going to be more business savvy. Some of them are going to be education or finance. So when we are looking at how do we best position ourselves, the podcast that we pitch ourselves to, that we want to be a guest of, we have to think about that podcast's audience and make sure that audience's demographic and their makeup is pretty much aligned with who our target market is. Those are going to be the most appropriate ones that we should be connecting with. I know you taught me that when I'm first starting out, I felt nervous. And so I was scared. I didn't know who I am. So I was kind of pitching to just anybody who's willing to listen to me. So it ended up being on a lot of lifestyle, some business, some finance, and some, I come from the fitness world, so maybe some fitness, but I didn't really figure, and I was kind of overwhelmed, to be honest. But it wasn't until I actually sat down and started thinking about who my market is. Okay, I need to find the podcasts with the same or like demographic. It really helped fine tune my marketing strategy.
Yeah, and that's a great actually strategy that you implemented, because at the beginning, you may just treat it like a sandbox a bit, and those podcast interviews can give you clarity. So a lot of us, we're searching for that, for clarity in our business, like who really is our customer. Maybe we should go broader, or maybe we should go more narrow. Like, there is not a better way to get clarity than by exposure. And a lot of people want to wait, but you will not get that clarity when you sit in front of your laptop. Like, you will get that clarity when you put yourself out there. And so the beginning, it's an excellent way that you did it with, because then you just started putting yourself out there, and you noticed like what really like resonated. You got your own aha moment that nobody could really give you, but you, by just putting yourself out there.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, Anna, can you talk about organizing and prioritizing the podcast? You were the one who told me there's an echelon of podcasters, and then we should really start at the bottom. Can you talk a little bit about prioritizing that?
Well, well, it's there is this hierarchy, but it's definitely worth building. It's like I talk about it. It's hard to do from when we are just starting from zero to opera, but it's definitely possible to build there. And it's smaller podcasts still offer incredible opportunity, because all you need is one, and like that one person will hear you, connect with you, and you never know what's going to happen, right? So I wouldn't like discount these smaller ones, because actually the hosts of the smaller ones can be more invested, so they can do more marketing for us, and that's how we build it up. So once we get that list that we were a guest on already, then we can just start connecting with bigger shows. And just to share with you guys some incredible results that can come out from a big podcast. So actually, a client of mine, it took a really long time to book that big podcast. That was Entrepreneur on Fire. But after that, he sold a fitness franchise for $400,000. So yeah, it was a $400,000 deal based on just like one interview, right? So it's like, It does take a little bit to build up that momentum and to just, keep connecting. Because you don't just pitch once these big podcasts. You just have to do the connecting. But it's powerful because these listeners, they really pay attention and they take action. That's definitely a good thing. Yeah.
Now, I've tried to follow in your footsteps and your story and your journey of how you even got here from the very beginning is super inspiring. Can you walk? And I remember you sharing, like, you use virtual assistants and you kept putting yourself out there and started interviewing and you got really good at your craft. Can you walk us through how you got here from your beginning?
Sure. Yeah. So when I sold the book, my agent sold the book. It's called Your Creative Career. I really, wanted to impress the publisher because I knew that those numbers will count towards my second book if I ever want to write one. And, I'm like a high achiever, right? So I wanted to just go out of my way and just do my own marketing too, even though they gave me my PR agency as well. So, and I was like, sending these books to Instagrammers and, hoping to be featured and all that. It was okay, but it was just like a hope marketing, And then I was invited to just one podcast and I saw the effect it had, on my list and on my book, on the pre-orders. And I started really focusing on booking those guest podcast interviews maybe not instead, but in addition to social media. So the day of the publication, I had 3 interviews and then they just kept going. And the great thing is it wasn't just about the book. Like, I'm a life coach and a business coach, so I didn't have to reach out for clients, which for me is huge. Like, clients coming to you, like, that's like a dream situation. Like, I can just, okay, yeah, I'll work with you. Like, hold on a second, it's a great position to be in when you get that exposure, because then just the roles get reversed and then you, and you raise your prices. You are at a different position, different level because of the demand, because you put yourself out there. So it's been really, really good.
And your booking rate, I mean, it was what, 70 interviews in 3 months or something? It was something exponential.
Oh no, it's no, up until now I've been on 70, but it took I think I did like 30 in a few months or something like that. Yeah,
okay.
So yeah.
I remember you and I talking about it, going, I don't know what number that is, but I was getting tired after like 2 a week. It was on something really low. It was tiring, and I was still new. But you used virtual assistants in order to handle pitching. How did you do that?
Yeah, so that's a great question, because that worked out really well. So the pitching method that I recommend is to make the pitch really personalized. So especially at the beginning of the pitch, I recommend to listen to an episode and just say something about it so that it's really creative and personalized. So that can take like a lot of time, especially if you have like a book launch or, life. So, and that's the complaint I get, from students and from clients is like, I can't squeeze in another thing. So to delegate it to a personal assistant, like, this can definitely be the way. One thing I would recommend is to find a local one, because for just the reasons of like crafting a pitch, unless you find. So that was, I was paying like $35 an hour, but it doesn't take that long for the virtual assistant to get going once the system is all set up. It was just like a few hours per week. And I was just literally just like show up. So I didn't have to I only had to listen to the shows that I was booked on. Okay. So you know how you pitch, you want to listen to a show because that's how you pitch. Like, she was doing this even. She would listen to a show, do the pitching, just make it personalized. And once I was booked, I would get familiar with the show. So that saved a step, definitely. Yeah.
So we have several people. Oh, by the way, this is being streamed on Facebook. Oh, and by the way, our group is about 120 people. So you only see a very, very small percentage of people that's in the entire community. So we have a lot of new people. Anna, what is a pitch?
Oh yeah, sure. So yes, effective pitch. That is a great question. So, you know, I really recommend to get to the point like quickly and to be very efficient. And actually, I just had a session this week, and one of my students was laughing. It's like, "Oh, you're such a New Yorker," because I've spent so much time in New York. But it is kind of true. We have to have this New York attitude to pitching, because these podcast hosts, these podcast hosts have they don't have the time to read the lengthy introduction about, you know, the bio, you know, and that's actually the mistake that a lot of people make. They just talk so much, you know, these lengthy sentences. I would be a perfect guest. I would contribute the best information, you know, and it's like, okay, every single sentence in the pitch should matter. If it doesn't, just remove it. You know, intro should be just getting straight to the point, because we have just a few seconds to grab the person's attention. And I would strongly recommend to have a strong subject line so that it gets opened, right? So what type of subject lines were you using, Nelson? Give us some of yours.
A person, like for my business outside of real estate, I was a personal trainer promoting a book about finance. And so there's these two topics that, one, I could talk to fitness people, but I'm talking to fitness people about, to be honest, and I'm talking to fitness people about a boring topic, which is finance. So there was kind of a disconnect. So I had to pitch, hey, either like I'm the lone personal trainer or the rich personal trainer, or I'm a personal trainer who's not poor. You should listen to me. And so I kind of like, I had to be a little cutting, and I had to position myself as like, he's different. And the feedback that I got with a lot of my pitches was like, I never met a personal trainer. I never met someone in fitness who's so business savvy. And so I had to use that over and over again. And depending on the personality of the podcaster, after listening to some podcast interview, I could take the liberty of being a little bit more pushy, or if they're a little sensitive and kind, then I would start catering the different words I chose accordingly.
Oh, wonderful.
And so when I got my response.
So much growth, right?
Yeah, thank you, Anna.
Like, it's amazing how we change, like when we first start, and then literally, like, we don't have to think, like the audience and the responses will tell us like how to craft. It's amazing. It's like magic what happens like when we really start putting ourselves out there. Yeah.
So Steph has a question, fellow New Yorker.
Hi, Anna. Oh my God, I'm so excited that you're on this call. Like, you are, I've been looking forward to this call, honestly.
Oh, thank you so much.
So my role within Investor Party and stuff like that is I definitely do a lot of the marketing and help spearhead a lot of that. And podcasts has definitely been the next like place that I'm looking at, like where can we use that to really like generate more traction, both for the like our for-profit education company Investor Party, as well as our nonprofit arm, Sherlock Holmes Foundation. So I went to your website, right? Like, and then I, filled out the thing, and I got, your template, and I literally look at it, and I'm like, this is super cool. And I love that you said about like very New York minded, like go right to the point. I'm like, exactly. Like and I mean, Nelson and the team who receive my emails, they know they know, and Stephanie email, like I give them like, some good like points, like I'm looking for this because of this, I'm looking for this because of that, because like very thinking that strategic. So I really like that aspect. But in your email template, you also talk about your following. So we're still, because we're a very new concept, how do we combat that? We don't have a large following because we also want to use part of being exposed to these podcasts to build our following even further. So how would I overcome that obstacle of your pitch? Is my question.
Thank you so much. So much awesome energy in this question. Great. And yeah, this is actually a very popular question because a lot of people get intimidated by that part of the pitch. So for those, just to let you guys know, Steph is just sharing that she downloaded this free pitch that I have on my website. So it's basically the pitch, the template that I use to pitch podcast hosts. And, you know, there is a part where I recommend to talk about the show. There is a part where I recommend to talk about the hooks. And there is a part where I talk about how to help the host to make the show more popular. Okay, so I mentioned how many followers and, you know, my social media reach. And, you know, her question is like, what should we do if we don't have that reach? How can we really shine? Okay, so there is definitely a way. We just have to basically see and do an inventory of the things that we can offer to the host. So the one thing we should keep in mind is, what is the host's goal? The host's goal is to grow their business and their show. It's not really about us, right? It's about them. They want their show to be successful. That's why they started. That's why they spend so much time on it. Okay, so so how can we help? Well, if we don't have a large social media following, there are other things that we can, you know, we could do. The one thing that they really love is reviews. So if we start our pitch with, hey there, I just, you know, listened to one of the episodes and I left you a shiny 5-star review. Like, nobody really does that, right? Because everybody's just so, let me talk about, you know, what I accomplished and I would be a good guest. But what about just starting with like, I left a review for your show? That already, you know, presents us as like an open-hearted, open-minded person, right? So it's like leaving a review before even getting accepted could be a good strategy. Another strategy is to have very, very good hooks. Story hooks. So that these hooks attract more listeners to the show. So if they're really refined, if they really spark curiosity, if they really interest their audience, that's something where we can shine. We don't need that social media following as much, right? And yeah, so we just have to do this, make this inventory and see like how we can, what can we do? Or like you guys have this incredible mission. So podcast hosts can feel connected to that mission. And that can be like really get you ahead, right? Yeah.
And you coached me when we were on the topic of hooks. Is a lot of the podcasters, they get requested, they get pitches from a lot of the people who have they're basically saying the same thing. I'm an expert in this. I know a lot about this topic, but you were the one who coached me, take the hook of your specialty, but you have to add in your story, who you are, what makes you different. And what I've noticed when I was doing a lot of research about the podcasters, and specifically, they were specifically looking for entrepreneurs that were atypical. So they were looking for, hey, we know that you are, you know, you're a business owner, you're a CEO, but tell us something we don't know about you, about your journey, about something personal. And you were the one who coached me. I was like, take that. If you are LGBT, if you were formerly homeless, if you were formerly incarcerated, if you were a single mom, if you went through any trials and tribulations and sense of accomplishment, it was the emotional part. You have to think of your hook in terms of emotion, and that's what get the podcasters' attention, because that in turn will catch the audience's attention. They want to relate to you on a more affect, on a more personal level. So you were the one who taught me how to combine the two, and that was a really effective way to get people's attention.
Yeah, this is a really good point. So I always recommend to make our introductions about the audience, so that the audience can see themselves in the intros. And same thing with the stories. We have so many stories to share. And the question I often get is, oh my God, I have so much to share. I'm so multi-passionate. Like, what should I share on the podcast? And your point, Nelson, is the stories that we should choose is the stories that we want to be known for. Like if there is something, painful or something that, maybe belongs to our therapist instead of the podcast, like we don't have to share it. Okay. So it's important to know like what story is going to serve the audience and what do we really want to share. Because keep in mind, as amazing it is that these podcast episodes are evergreen, in 3 years from now, if somebody listens to your episode that you record today, you could be asked about it. Like if you're talking about some kind of a divorce or whatever, like in 3 years, you may be asked about it, so the information that you share is evergreen. So, being selective, I mean, there are so many stories that can serve, and again, stories that can serve the business if our goal is to grow the business, right?
I remember introducing you to this one guy, and and podcasters get really creative because you were the one who taught me that podcasters have to differentiate themselves from each other, so they have different formats. You have to again listen to the podcast and see what really sets them apart. And there was this one, I was so nervous to be on this one. We had to basically we have to talk about anything but our businesses for 20 minutes straight. And his whole shtick is, we're as business owners, we know our 6-second elevator pitch and we practice it and we can talk about the business, but we rarely get to talk about ourselves. So it was a test. We had to talk about anything but our business for 20 minutes straight. And if we get to go through those 20 minutes, then he awards us the last 5 minutes, then that's when we can do our sales pitch and we could talk about our businesses. And I started talking about drug abuse and domestic violence and my whole college experience and LGBT and coming out of the closet. And I can tell you, I was sweating. I called you right after that podcast interview because I didn't think I was going to make it for 20 minutes. And he awarded me the 5 minutes. And that's his whole thing. And he said, the majority of people I take on my podcast can't even make it 10. Can't make it 10 minutes about talking anything but that business. So it was really interesting. The more that you taught me to research about podcasters themselves, they themselves are business owners also. So they're looking for clients / guests that would set them apart too.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Wow, it's so interesting. I'm like wondering how long would I be talking?
It was hard. I was sweating. So
it's not out there.
It wasn't televised or anything. So
so you're bringing up a good point actually, and the little nugget I'd like to share with you guys is podcast hosts are going to be thrilled if we ask them a question about their business. So. And they actually may be a bit even surprised, but they will just be, really taken by it. Like it's such a pleasant surprise because not many people really do that. But, especially with a big podcaster, if you just go and do a bit of research and see if they're coming up with a program or just, just bring something, it's as if you were like stealing, 3 or 5 minutes, but it's not really, because it shouldn't be just a one-way interview, and just ask them a question. It's I got the incredible responses since I started doing it.
Yeah. We have a question from Jacob. Several of us are thinking about actually being our own podcasters and having our own shows. So what metrics are you measuring, and when should we hire a podcast producer?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, Jacob, because for some people, it's a natural transition from being a guest on podcast to then having their own show. And that's a great transition because then we actually know so much more because of and thanks to that exposure. So I do work with a lot of people who want to start their shows, and what I recommend. So let me just look at this question. Is it how to start a show successfully, or what makes a show successful?
what do you measure success by? How many listeners you have, how many people download the episode, how many were listening where you were live, after it was recorded, like what metrics do you pay attention to?
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's a great question. So it's definitely, you know, I mean, it is about the downloads, right? It is about the downloads, and to get to get those downloads and to get the show popular, I highly recommend to launch it. So make a podcast launch an event. Okay, so yeah.
I love a good event. You can have a theme party and everything.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, by the way, Anna, this is our founder, Jacob.
Hey,
Hi.
Jacob.
He's quite fabulous.
Nice to meet
and
you.
he's the one speaking about launching a podcast on behalf of Investor Party.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
be doing that. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, and I just want to listen to you talk all day long. So just keep speaking, please. I'm enchanted.
Thank you
Interesting line.
so much. And yeah, feel free to, you know, say if I'm on the right track here, but I mean, I'm excited. This is exciting because what's going to happen once you have your podcast too, when we talked about, you know, shining the light on the host, in that situation, you'll be able to be a guest and offer a spot on your show.
Oh, that's right. Because you're a guest on other podcasters and other podcasters are on you and you just aren't networking. And so now you also exchange guests. I've been on, it ends up being an entire network on its own.
Yeah. And you know, it will be a little bit of work to build that momentum, but it is definitely possible. But, you know, I would just involve everyone, like enroll everyone into this event, that podcast. Like guests should be promoting the show. You know, all your audience should be promoting the show. So, and that first week is extremely important because that's what determines if you are going to be on Apple's new and noteworthy. So Apple will just like boost you even more up if you get a lot of downloads of that in that first week. So I would recommend to start with 5 episodes. So a lot of people make that mistake. They just put one intro out and they launch. Make people binge watch so that there are even more downloads, right? I mean, tons of other tips, but these are just the first few.
So some of the people who started it, they would start off of Anchor, and then they would hopefully submit it and they would get on Apple and Spotify and things. If we were going in the direction, or any of my colleagues going in the direction of starting our own podcast, what are some initial steps and some software and some assessments that you should?
Okay. Yeah. So Anchor is this platform that is, you know, free, and they actually can pay you for downloads and for ads, and a lot of people use this, but you're not in control of the episodes, right? So I know there's like Buzzsprout and a few other ones, Podbean and all that. So any of those, I mean, you could just kind of determine what works, but I'd recommend to start on those because you're just going to be more in control as far as ads and all that.
Yeah, there are ads on there. Those kind of annoying.
Yeah. So, it's free though, and then every time you like run an ad, you get paid. So yeah.
And the production of it, from other podcasters have reported, it's the recording isn't so bad. It's the editing that could take forever. What's your experience with that? And would you?
So as far as editing, it's depending like how familiar you are with editing. I mean, GarageBand, it doesn't have to take that long, but if you want to outsource it right away, then great. But funny enough, it doesn't take like as long if you've done like the simple editing of some Facebook or Instagram, or YouTube videos. So because it's just voice, if you think about it. But then if you want to repurpose it, and especially if you want to just add some B-roll and put it on YouTube, that can take a bit. And that's like a virtual assistant thing, because if you don't set it up, you end up not doing it, and it just is on a back burner. And it is important to really maximize and take advantage of every single episode. Like, it's not just posting it out there, it's really like amplifying its power. That's important.
You taught me to practice, not only the hook, not only the pitch, but practice my introduction, practice and think long-term when through the interview process or throughout the interview on the actual podcast, make sure that even I say words that I could take out as snippets and I use my own market. So there's little marketing pieces that that was part of our assignment in your coaching program. Now, also, you coached me how to be a proper guest, and you taught me etiquette. What are some things, if we were to go on podcast, what are some of the things that would make us a pleasurable guest and follow up and such?
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, it is important. It is important. I mean, we are like, it's as if we were coming to somebody's house, right? So if we're coming to somebody's house, we don't start talking about ourselves, like, right? So it's like the same with the podcast. It's shining the light on the host. That's like the one super important thing, and really keeping their goals in mind, and then everything just basically follows. So really going with an open heart of like how we can help and serve the audience, and having this abundant mindset. That is super important. So some people have this scarcity mindset of like, I'm not going to share this because this is my paid program. You cannot go far with this attitude. There's so much that we can share. Like, I just got my favorite t-shirt, and it says, teach everything you know. And teach everything you know should be on your mind when you get interviewed. It's, abundant mindset. It all comes back. There's like, you could teach everything you know, and it will still come back to you, because for some reason the universe just evens it all out. Yeah.
So the right audience. We're a big law of attraction, abundant mindset entrepreneurs. We talk about mindset, right, Jacob? Are you still there?
No, he's sipping his wine. That's Elise.
I know. He's probably going to pour another glass. It's not even 5.
Have his wine, but we both have different connections. So right now his connection's not working as well as mine, but he's here. So, but yeah.
Anna, I learned the hard way the technical things behind being a guest. So when you take the call, sometimes you're not on Zoom. Sometimes they're going to be recording on Anchor or a different platform also. Make sure that where you're sitting there's no noise. Make sure it's soundproof. And I remember being in your course, because we worked with Anna, in like, there's about 8 of us or something like that. We were meeting up on a weekly basis, and there were several of us who didn't know that concept, actually had to all the noise cancellation because we didn't know. So several of us had to do podcast interviews in the closet, because the more clothes that you are surrounded by will actually absorb sound. We learned that the hard way. Make sure your dogs aren't barking. Make sure that no one walks into the room, because all of that gets recorded and it makes the podcasters job harder. And you don't want to be that guest who you remember it as that you made the podcast job harder. So there was a lot of funny stories that we were sharing with each other in this whole journey of like how to be the proper guest.
Yeah, this is
proper host and not have someone hack your account and put up porn. That's always been fun.
That happened to Jacob, and that will still be fun.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, just a good rule of thumb. Don't let anybody hack your computer with porn. Good times.
There was a meeting, one of these calls that before that Jacob learned there was a password protocol to follow on Zoom, someone hacked it and showed porn. That is recorded somewhere, by the way. We'll find it.
I'm surprised YouTube hasn't like flagged that one episode.
Yeah.
Or was that?
Oh, because it's still private. That's why got it.
Yeah. Now, Anna,
I actually really want to take that episode and I want to cut out the bad parts and reenact it with sock puppets. I think that would be really fun.
But it was a party chatter because you had Travis and Aaron messaging you, laughing their heads off because they saw it on Facebook. It was a party chatter call.
I had about 300 million worth of investor and 3 people. I recorded it and I also at their staff meetings because I was showing up 3 days later. So they all got to see me flustered, which rarely happens. But you know what? I don't watch that type of material.
Yeah.
You guys.
Anyway.
So Jacob had another question. Have you been doing your YouTube challenge also?
Say it again.
Have you been doing a YouTube challenge also?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I entered this challenge.
Yeah, so what's up with that?
Of posting a video a day
Uh-huh.
on YouTube. And the growth I'm experiencing is like mind-blowing. Like when you do daily on YouTube, and I'm creating a library because just like with podcasts, YouTube episodes are search friendly. Mm-hmm. So I'm really focusing on SEO, like I'm creating something for, years to come. So, but it's incredible, just like that momentum that you can build. Before I used to just post I started that again, my YouTube journey in July, and I was posting once per week. Once I started posting once a day, everything tripled. So like the views, the traction and everything just like tripled, and opportunities too. It's already started. And it's only been like 11 days, but yeah. So daily YouTube, just like you just showing YouTube that you're showing up consistently. And they are like, I'm working with an editor and a few of them actually. And, just like posting like how to around my, expertise and all that. So it's incredible. So I want to see how long it's going to take to get monetized on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. So what groundwork did you do to get there, and like how did you start, and what do you do?
With the YouTube, so I was tired of seeing like this small slow growth, July, August, September. Excuse me. So it's just like one episode a week. I would just like see really, and then I kept hearing that YouTube is about frequency, like you need way more than once per week. So I was like, okay, let's see what's going to happen if I just do it daily. It's just so hard, but it's worth it. I'm documenting this journey. A lot of people are interested actually in like looking at the stats and how it's growing, like, and I can't wait to see like what's going to happen. Like I want to see how long it's going to take from zero to this YouTube monetization. And but it's not going to be just the monetization. It's going to be also being found on Google as, expert in growing businesses with social media and with guest podcasting. So yeah,
I mean, you're everywhere. I'm on your Instagram, and I mean, you're really consistent and every day on LinkedIn too. So I mean, just how do you go about? So how do you be consistent? Because it is overwhelming. We all know the value of social media, but what is your personal approach? How do you schedule it? How do you strategize your marketing calendar? Okay.
Yeah, so it is really, really tough. And I've been working, on it consistently to like streamline it and make it more efficient. So, I mean, I know that I need to record 2 or 3 videos at a time. So I do it, if I do 3, then it really flows nicely. Like I notice if I do just 1 or 2, then there's like a catching up, like later hours and all that. So I'm still getting into the groove, but I'd say like batching is definitely it.
Oh, you taught me about that. batching.
Yeah, the
Using my
batch.
day also, so I'm not so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You taught me a lot, Anna.
Oh, thank you. Really, my
Yeah.
yeah.
Another thing that you taught me in just being prepared. So there's the actual craft of researching the podcast, and then also kind of in our email drafts have our pitch ready to go, documenting. And then you gave me an Excel spreadsheet of just keeping track of the podcasters, their market, when I sent my pitch, following up with them also. So it was an entire system that you gave me. But also you taught me that once it's secure, so I recorded it, and they don't actually air until about 2 to 3 months after that. So you taught me timing also. If I get on interviews October or November, it probably won't be aired until their next season, which starts in January. So I have to start timing it and strategizing my marketing with theirs also. And then take the link, whether it be out iTunes or Spotify, put it on my website, and that naturally elevates my credibility as an investor, as a business owner, and say like, hey, I've been featured on blah, 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 blah. And so now I just sound like, I sound pretty cool. I sound like all the other people who have been featured anywhere. It's credibility. It adds to my credibility. So these were all different tactics of how to make that one interview and repurpose it in all different ways to leverage the marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely going like deep with the episode, every single one is super important. And also what I love that you were doing, Nelson, like you were giving us like a taste behind the scenes, like, hey, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. Yeah. I'm getting ready for this interview. And people love it. Like the getting ready part. I'm about to be interviewed here. I just finished the interview. That's all for Instagram stories.
Yeah.
So we love having that peak, and because it just happens like right now, right? So
yeah, I remember because I would do my interview here at my desk, but I would have my phone and it would be recording off camera. But I would, so to build up the release or the air date of that interview, I would start releasing on my Instagram snippets of behind the scenes. And I would intentionally show things like, this is where I fumbled, this is where I was like messing up, I kept my microphone to work. But people really like that stuff of being behind the scenes. And I think this goes for business also. If you can take your social media and show what it really takes to run a business, people like it when the curtains are pulled back.
Yes, definitely. So, and even, showing you being interviewed, being an expert, like, you're asked your expert opinion, that just adds authority and credibility, like and it's like a different dimension too, because these are Instagram followers or YouTube followers or Facebook followers. So they may not listen to the podcast. And so it's also like an invitation to, hey, this is the podcast that I told you about. It's out now. So it's an invitation for them to listen as well. Yeah.
What do you see Anna Sabino, her coaching program? Share with us how you work with a particular client. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm not going anywhere. So what's your coaching program like?
Oh, okay. Yeah, wonderful. So I am just in the middle of a new cohort, and it's very, very exciting. And it's actually, so this cohort is a fabulous group. And I actually expanded it because this time we are also including a virtual summit. So every single person who, all the students and clients are going to be on this virtual summit called the Comfort of Change. So I picked the Comfort of Change Summit so that it is very fluid, and all the students, all the participants of the program can be on the summit, because it's just, even though there are different expertise, there's a different expertise, etc., and they can be, but other than that, we are studying story hooks and pitching and monetization You know, monetization is a big one. So I go beyond just being a guest on podcast. Like in that program, it's I'm also like making sure that it's going to be monetized, because what guest podcasting does is bringing us a lot of traffic. But where is this traffic going to go, and what are you going to do with it? So the whole thing with the lead magnet and creating offers that are congruent to with the lead magnet. So it should just be all a funnel. So right now we're just getting ready for our last session, and it's going to be all about the funnels and monetization. Like, what can we do with that guest podcasting traffic? Because traffic is great, but then we also need conversions. So yeah.
You taught me with the sales funnel, have a landing page on my website, because part of being a great guest is that the podcaster is going to ask, how do my audience get a hold of you? I said, well, you go to coachnellytoriano.com/podcast, and it's a dedicated landing page on my website where they go visit, and I have this YouTube video saying, thank you for listening to my episode. Please download this PDF for your free 5 tips. And you taught me the value of having a freebie also. So now there's not only a lead magnet, an email opt-in, suddenly in another funnel, they got a freebie, they get value. I mean, you taught me an entire system. I was like, this is how you use podcasts. It's not more than just an interview. This is going to be your potential customer.
Right. You're like warming them up. So it's like these steps from listener to audience, fan, and buyers. A lot of people want to skip those steps, and it's very annoying because we're getting all these, LinkedIn messages trying to sell us something in the first message or ask us for something. But when we're a guest on the podcast, we're just building this relationship and taking these listeners on a customer journey. So yeah.
Ding, 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 Nelson. We got to add that to our website.
Yeah, it is. It's an entire system. So if we want more customers utilizing our services, or we need buyers, or we need sellers of single family homes or something, podcasts, it's at the top of the upside down pyramid, and it's just funnels. So like you taught me an entire system. So Anna, any last words? Anything that you can teach us in like a couple seconds?
Oh, sure, awesome.
Any last words?
It's been a pleasure, guys. And if you have any questions, feel free to email Anna at annasabino.com. I could just leave it here.
I will definitely be using that email, Anna, coming up. So
you can totally.
You opened the can of worms with me for sure. But I'm so excited that you were here, and I've been so like eating every little juicy bit of information you've been given today. So I'm really excited.
Totally. And if you want to download the page that Stephanie was talking about, it's right on my website, annasabino.com. It's actually just the lead magnet. I'm redoing the website as we speak. So because it all starts with that strong pitch, right? Strong pitch. So I'm excited for you guys. Can't wait to hear you on different episodes.
Well, thank you, Anna, for your time. You guys, if you have any questions about how to use podcasting as part of your marketing strategy, again, these are potential clients. It's one way to leverage your credibility and then funnel them right to you and monetize. Anna, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Investor Party. You are part of the family now. Okay, you ain't going anywhere. We're not going to let you go.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Nelson. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys. Have a great day. See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. And that was the party.